So welcome everyone to the Top Producer's Guide, the ultimate guide to geographical farming. Geographical farming, what is it? Well, it is choosing an area of expertise within a geographical area. So it could be a town, it could be a section of town, a community, and really putting all your efforts towards making sure that you have the mind share of the business in that area. And what that means is somebody thinks of real estate, they'll think of your name and they'll give you a call when they're thinking of selling. Some of the statistics that you need to take in mind when you're looking at geographical farming is that even though you know certain people who dominate certain areas, they actually don't have the lion's share of the sales. It's a market share, and it's a lower market share because repeat and referral business is number one in Canada. It's 85% of your business in and around. And that means 15% of the additional business in that area is really up for a new agent to, or somebody in that area to call an agent that they may not have a referral or a friend or a family member, somebody in the business. First is the mindset and expectations of farming. Number two is the business plan. Number three, research and choosing an area. Number four, the marketing and advertising that goes into farming. Number five, prospecting and building relationships. And number six, turning it on overdrive and what 10 times means. First of all, your mindset. Going into farming, you need to have a relentless mindset. The mindset needs to change from I'll try to I will do. It is a ongoing program, and your mindset needs to be for a 5-year plan. 3 to 5 years is what you should be planning out for. It has to be relentless. It can't be something that you're gonna, I'll send out some flyers and see if it works. You do never give up. Never, ever give up on a farming program. Even if you haven't had the expectation of success when the time frame that your expectations have been set, you can't give up. It's a waste of time, effort, money. And most people that try farming, and again, try farming, they give up. And they give up after the first year. And that would be a big mistake. So you have to be relentless. You have to never give up on your farm area. You need to have the mindset of total domination. You have to beat the person in the area that you are going to be competing against when it comes to farming. There's not too many areas that somebody isn't sending out farm flyers or trying to dominate. You need to have the mindset that you are the realtor of choice for that neighborhood, and you will follow through. So that mindset going in. Here's some of the things that I want to make sure that manage your expectations going in. First of all, that first year that you are going to be marketing in that area, you may not see a return. You may not see any calls. You may not see any business. You may get 1 call, 2 calls, go on a few listing appointments. Maybe you lose out on those listing appointments. That's okay. But in that first year, your return on your investment may be 0. Remember, it takes 6 to 8 months to even get known in the area, and another 3 months to be at the right timing for somebody to choose you, and then another few months in order to close the transaction. So you're going to see closings maybe in the first year or the second year, opposed to the first year. But keep going. Again, that first year, you have to keep going. Most agents fail because they stop. Most people think they have picked the wrong area and say, I'm going to switch areas. That one was a dud. That's a mistake. Call me if you ever think about giving up. Okay, we'll get you back on track. Number 2, minimum 5-year plan. It has to be, right? Minimum 5-year. And I actually tell people forever. This is your forever plan. Whatever your budget, whatever your business plan is, this is not a 1-year plan. People do not open a restaurant and say, for the next year, this is my restaurant that I'm going to change into something else. They don't. The whatever business you're starting up, that's forever plan. You'll spend more upfront and you may not see the return. Don't do this program unless you have the budget, you have the ability to see through that 5-year plan. So a lot of agents will come into the business and think that that's the way that they're going to start off their business, and may only have a limited budget in order to do that. And one of the reasons why they quit after the first year is it's just too costly for them. Make sure that you have, I like to see money coming in from real estate first. for a healthy plan. Some people have all the money in the world. That's great. Congratulations. Come and talk to me if you have a large budget and unlimited resources, because you will be able to be successful at this. However, most of us are not. We need to have the cash flow first. So some people come and build a good foundational program with their friends, family, and sphere of influence first, get the ball rolling with 100, 200,000 or more in commissions coming in, and then start into the source of farming in order to make sure that that budget's there. Postcards and advertising. Your marketing plan should include prospecting component. So postcards and advertising is something that I see a lot of. I see a lot of, let's say, top agent, but mega producers doing $3 million a year go into an area and just dominate that area because they send enough postcards and advertising that they become the mind share and they get the phone calls. Again, most of us don't have that type of resource. Your marketing plan really should include a prospecting component. You need to put yourself in front of the people at the front door and or at events, etc. Advertising is only going to create that mind share. It's the relationships that are going to really win the business. So if you currently have somebody in a marketplace where you know they're the most popular person in town, you can beat them easily, because I guarantee you those popular people, if they're as big as the $3-5 million producers, those people are not spending the time to meet the person at the front door. So this is an advantage to you. So don't worry, you can beat them. It's not a problem if you do as much marketing as they do, but you actually put yourself in front of them. You will be able to compete, if not beat them. In terms of your results, any business in the first years is bonus. Again, 3 to 5 years, 5% market share is what you should be shooting for at minimum. And you should be able to get a 10 times return on your investment. So you really need to go with the expectation of a 10 times return, right? But time is the reason why most people do not follow through. When that match is lit, it goes, right? You need to make sure that you stick it out to the point where all of a sudden that fire is set and it just goes. It'll take off for you. I think the better analogy would be, the engine or the train out of the gate, right? So when you're starting a train up, it goes very slow and it takes a while to get a train up to speed, but good luck stopping it as soon as it's going. So, it takes time to get it up to speed, but as soon as you're there, it will definitely take off on you. Bigger is not always better when it comes to the amount of homes that you're looking at. I see a lot of people that will put effort into a 3,000 home area when they start out doing one flyer a month. And that's just not good enough. It's going to take you 8 years for you to become the mind share. You need to be in front of somebody like 47 times in a 3-month period, something like that, in order so people remember your name. So don't just choose a large area because you think that there are more home sales. Repetition, consistency, focus on a smaller area is better. So 500 to 1,000 homes to start is a good size. Less homes more often. Okay. Again, I can't stress this will take time. Just stay relentless. The business plan. You must have a business plan. And I would even say top producers don't have a good business plan. They essentially, throw things and hopefully it sticks, right? Throw marketing, throw advertising, grab benches, put yourself in front of people, but they don't really have a compiled business plan. If anybody wants to start farming, I'm going to ask them to just pop open their computer, open a Word document, and start off with a table of contents. And I'm going to go through that with you, and then start putting content into that table. Build out a plan. Let's see the plan. We'll go through the plan. We'll make adjustments and tweaks and then execute. Okay. So that is what if you walk into a bank and say, listen, I have a startup company. I would like to borrow some money. They will only loan you money. And a lot of times they won't at all, because there's risk involved in startups. Right? This is a startup. And if you have a solid business plan and you convince somebody that this is worth investing in, then they will invest in you. Well, you have to invest in yourself. And if you don't do a business plan, chances are you're not going to follow through. So you need to have that business plan set. And that's in any source of income in real estate. So you should have a business plan for foundational systems. And that's what I've put here. A healthy and prosperous career in real estate starts and thrives off of the foundational systems that revolve around your relationships, right? You should have a business plan for your foundations, which means how often are you contacting your sphere of influence? Do you have their addresses? Are you going over and popping by and giving them a gift? Are you calling them once a quarter? Are you sending calendars and magnets and thank you cards? Are you taking them, are your A clients out to lunches and dinners and giving them gifts and all this sort of stuff? If you're already doing that and you have a solid foundational business plan, you're ready to insert another component or source of income. But if you do not have that, okay, you probably need to spend a bit more time on your foundational system. Because when you meet somebody at the door and they say, yes, I'd like to possibly know what my house is worth, and they've called you off of all your advertising and everything you've done, you finally got that lead. And then it falls apart. Why? Because you didn't have a listing presentation. You didn't have a solid reason and value proposition to give them why they should use you. And when in a lot of cases they'll do the market evaluation, home evaluation, leave them with a little gift, do all the nice stuff, and then 6 months they decide to sell, but you haven't contacted them in 6 months because you forgot and the tasks weren't set and the reminders and the newsletters weren't going out. So you need to make sure that foundational program's set up first so that when you meet somebody, they can just be put into that funnel, get reminded, and then when they're ready to sell in 6 months to a year, they're going to call you because you stayed in contact and you built the relationship. Okay, here is some components of the business plan that I'd like you to consider putting in. Start off with your vision and mission statement. Really put some thought to what it is you want to do to dominate that area. Some of those words I used at the beginning, like relentless, total domination, that can be part of your vision and mission statement. It could also be part of think about the services you want to provide. Right. So I've seen some vision and mission statements of top teams, and really it's about repetition and there's a numbers game to them. That house sale is just another number and another digit in their bank account. Okay. We don't want your business to be that way. We want to be about providing the highest level, best service and a relentless opportunity to get the most they can for the house. Right. Something like that. Google mission, vision statements and think about how you want to start off with this business plan. Then you're going to go into the components of the business plan. You're going to do some area research, and I'm going to go into some of these slides here, things to consider when putting together your area research, your marketing and advertising, your prospecting, and your financial accounting and goals. You need to know where your statistics are at. We'll start off with your research, choosing an area. Probably the most asked question when people come to me and say, yes, listen, I'm thinking about farming. Where should I start? In the end, it doesn't matter. Every area has sales. It's different percentages, but the important thing to do is know the area. You have to know it. You have to know it really well, because when people are testing you, and they'll do it without you even knowing, they'll be asking questions about the area. You're going to go in, and if somebody says, oh, you got to try this new restaurant, it's around the corner, and you say, I've never, what's it called again? They've tested you, you failed. You did not know the area because, again, well, I'm going to tell you, if somebody decides, on what realtor to use, let's say they're not using a friend or a relative or somebody that was suggested to them. They're stuck because they just don't know the top area agent. And they say, well, I'm going to call the top 3, but how do I choose the best area agent in order for me to sell my house? Because it's a $2 million home and I want to have the best person. If you were to Google that, some of the top answers, if you Google how to choose a real estate agent, they Google it. And they'll say, well, how do I choose it? They're going to say somebody who knows the area. Very first thing. Actually, I think the first thing on them is, I still think it might be knows the area. But the second thing is who comes recommended. If somebody else has used this agent, their reputation is going to be important, and the referrals are going to be important. But they are going to say, do they know the area? Do they know the sales? Do they know what it is in that area? If they misprice the house, they have totally lost you money, right? So research. what to consider, start off with demographics of the area, what languages are spoken, what nationalities are in the area, what's income levels, house prices, know the area demographics. Number two, the number of sales in the areas. Here's where we're going to get into some statistics. You're going to want to know in the area that you're looking, the amount of sales in the last 365 days. Okay. And there's some certain things I'm going to teach you guys to do, and we'll get to it. But you need to know how many houses are in the area that you're going to be considering as your farm area. And then you need to know, of course, the amount of sales in the last 365 days, because you need to know out of the 750 homes, how many homes actually turned over, how many actually had sales, right? Which takes us into the next, which is the total homes divided by the amount of sales, which is your turnover rate. Okay, so what is your turnover rate? Industry standards, anything above 8% is considered high turnover. Most coaches and trainers will tell you the more turnover, the better. I'm going to tell you it doesn't matter. It's important that you know the turnover rate, but it doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? Well, if you have only a 4% turnover rate, but nobody has market share in the area, and the average price of those homes are twice as high in terms of price, it's the same return in terms of investment and return on that. You just have to manage your expectation. You're going to have less sales, but at a higher value, and it's going to be easier for you to dominate an area with less of a person's market share, which is the next point. So I will go through every single sale in the area, start writing down names of people who've done more than one sale, right? So you need to know the percentage of sales that were done by top producers, which is your market share. I'm going to give you examples of this in a minute. Last thing, know your chosen area. So call the area counselor and ask them, what are the things that are affecting the area in and around XYZ? So the local area council will know everything that affects that area. Befriend that person. They can be a very big resource for you. They can be a part of your newsletter. They can be a part of your marketing. They'll know where there are events happening in town, et cetera, et cetera. So get involved. Know the shopping in the area, know the schools in the area, the sales and the numbers, obviously, of the real estate in the area, any of the builders, right? So who built the area? When you're doing an open house, and if you know it was Great Golf that built the house, that person coming through the open house knows that you might be the person to choose to decide on what agent to use to purchase a house in that area. Research tools. So Canada Post, the precision targeter within Canada Post is something you're going to need to use. Without marketing to an area from a paper standpoint, postcards, etc., newsletters, without Canada Post, it's going to be tough to get a consistency every other week of a piece going out to them. So you're going to need to decide on a farm area based on what we call postal walks. And Canada Post is a separate seminar that, and they have a precision targeter, albeit it's not the easiest thing to use. And selecting these are difficult and they can change. So you need to be on top of where and how Canada Post delivers their mail to. As you can see here, this is an example of a map on a precision targeter, and you can see the different numbers associated with colors. So this is going to relate to, and I'm going to go on to the next slide here. Okay, to the amount of houses, apartments, businesses, etc. So if you look at SS 0403 in Thornhill, you have 738 houses with 12 apartments for a total of 750 total distribution. And you can choose to send only to houses as well as for apartments and or businesses, actually. So there's 12 businesses in the area. So you wouldn't want to send it necessarily to the businesses. You may want to, but you're going to select an area. We'll go back to the area. Let's say you chose one of these areas like SS 0709, for example. You're going to draw on an MLS map in a second. You're going to show you the MLS, but you're going to draw a map in and around this area. Not only that, you're going to need to know exactly how many homes, and Canada Post will tell you 750 homes. So you know that that's 750 homes. That's SS 0709. Careful that there isn't anywhere else that color. That's actually a different shade of the same color. It's hard to see, but you're really going to need to know if there's another street over here that's the same postal walk, you're also farming an area that's away from this area. Okay. This will get a bit confusing as well as frustrating because you'll, let's say, want to market to the whole area. But it's, you may choose an area based on a postal walk. I hate to say it, right? If you're looking this whole area, you're going to have to choose, is this quadrant, the middle. Okay. And that's how you're going to decide on the amount of homes as well as the distribution of your flyers. Okay. So use the Canada Post Precision Targeter in helping you choose the area. You will see that there are areas at 700, 800, 600, 91, right? 345 and 240. So even though 224 might be an area you want to look at, if it's broken off and too segmented, it's going to be hard to choose that area. So put some thought into the area you choose based on Canada Post. Okay. Geo Warehouse, you should all be aware of when you're in your MLS system. Geo Warehouse is one of the tools that we have now to check into the demographics of an area. It takes Statistics Canada. That's one of the components. And that's looking into things such as, and then I just took a screenshot as an example. It's got a lot more information in there, but in this case, it does tell you what the average household income is. Okay, as well as the employment and dominant languages, immigration status, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, and they have lots of great information with Geo Warehouse. This is an example of the MLS, how you took your precision targeted section from your postal walk from Canada Post and have transported that map into your MLS system. So you'll draw a map around an area. This specific MLS system I'm using today is Realm. It's the new Stratus, we'll call it. It's coming up. So if this doesn't look, similar to this MLS system that you're using, if you're using Matrix or Stratus, it's because Realm is a newer system, and I wanted this to have some longevity to the seminar I'm doing right now. So a year from now, you're all going to know what this looks like that are using Stratus. If you're using Matrix, it's a different system, but each system allows you to draw an area map. This will tell you in the last year, the analytics, there was 40 sales in this area. So 40. Right. And if there's 700 homes, it'll show you your turnover rate. Divide 40 into 700 and you'll get your turnover rate. Okay. This is an example. We'll take the targeted area in Richmond Hill. It's called Patterson, is the area's, it's the neighborhood's name. And this is the postal walk that you're choosing within Patterson. The total number of homes is 736. The total number of sales were 48. The turnover rate was 6.5. This will help in determining if you have 3 or 4 different areas that you're trying to choose. And let's say this area is 6.5%, another area is 7.5%. Okay. You're going to start to look at, well, why would I choose 6.5 when I would choose 7.5? Who's got the dominant market share? That's what the top 3 agents here are. So Jason has 4 sales for a total of 8% market share. Marie has 4.1. And then you have an assorted number of agents that have 1 sale at 2%. So if 6.5 is the turnover rate, the dominant agent is 4 sales, but you have another area that's 7.5%, and the dominant sales were 1 sale. Nobody's dominating. Nobody's taken that area over. Then I would choose 7.5%. at the non-dominant share being less than 2%. So that's how you're going to start to look at why you are going to choose an area, along with other factors such as, could be demographics, language spoke, etc. Somebody told me when I first got into real estate, which area, Aaron, 29 years old, you should really, I'm not 29 anymore, but when I got in, I was 29. You really should look at an area that is first-time home buyers, because that's what you are. You're a first-time home buyer demographic. That doesn't mean you have to, right? And the other thing, they said, listen, if you're driving a car that costs $20,000 a year instead of $120,000 a year, you might want to stick to the demographic that sees you pull up in your $20,000 car instead of your $120,000 car, right? How you dress, how you present yourself. If you're walking through a $15 million home and you don't know the designers that have designed the home, then chances are you're not going to be able to speak to the different designers in a $50 million home the way that the sellers are going to want you to have knowledge of, right? So choose an area demographically that makes sense. Choose an area that has a turnover rate that is decent based on market share and average price. So take some thought into it. Do your research and have it as part of your business plan. Okay. Also know the area. Patterson is an area that has certain area influences. In this case, it's an area, and it goes into detail on here. I just did some research. It's actually Homania's research they did. They do our Spotlight marketing program. Eagles Nest Golf Club. There was about 5 or 6 slides I could have shown you. I think maybe I added another one in. Here's another one. Sugar Bush Heritage Parks nearby. I mean, you need to know this, right? When you're on a listing presentation and you're trying to sell a lifestyle, you're going to need to know what that lifestyle is when you're doing open houses, etc. The more you know about an area, the better chance you have getting the listing, but it's also the better chance of getting additional business from your open houses and buyers that call off of that listing. We're going to go into the next section, which is the marketing and advertising. And this is where a lot of the magic's done. I'd like to say that, building relationships 100% is the key to this business. There is no way that people are going to be able to sell houses, continue to have a good business plan if they're not good with people. And it could be a good salesperson. It could be a really nice person people want to work with. You don't have to be a certain style of personality. You just need to know that people are going to choose you because they either like you, trust you, etc. But I will tell you, when it comes to farming, numbers don't lie. There can be a dominant agent in an area that nobody's ever met. And we know those agents. I think in the top of your head, if you were to think real estate in your area, who's the #1 agent? They're not necessarily the one that everybody loves, but it's the person that is relentless in their advertising. So let's talk about some of their advertising. And I've got a good component, different components here as examples, but I've got a good overview of how you're going to not only dominate from a marketing perspective and mind share perspective, but also dominant with the relationships. So the following, and I'm just going to go through these things that should be part of, as an example, as part of your business plan. But think of flyers and postcards sent twice a month, right? You need to be in front of somebody as much as possible. Once a month's not enough. However, you will also be doing transactions as listing and sold. So let's say you sell 15 homes a year. Well, you're going to do 15 listed and 15 sold. Doesn't matter where you sold those houses. It could be in northern Saskatchewan. Well, it can't be because you don't have a license out there, but it could be northern Ontario, North Bay. You're still going to put a just listed, just sold flyer because they want to see success. The area agents want to see that you've listed things, sold things, consistently doing business. So every transaction, you're going to listing sold flyer. 2 local benches, as an example. Benches are great for them. 2 pop-bys, spring and fall. You're going to send out fridge magnets, ice cream truck event in the summer, pay-per-click advertising through Google and Facebook. These are different examples of marketing. It's not just flyers and postcards. You've got to have a full business plan with regards to your marketing. Next, your postcards, your farming postcards. We have a program set up at Century 21 Heritage that does your farming for you. We create the marketing pieces through a company called Homania. It's our Spotlight marketing program. They do the farming and newsletter program. The farming program that you see in front of you is sent out. It can be sent out twice a month, once a month. And then they have it broken down in terms of the cost examples of what it's going to cost you. This will help you come up with your budget. Okay, it is available at any of the offices. We can email you it. We also have a web page that we can show that to you. However you do your postcards, my suggestion is automation. Pay somebody to do it. I've gone through this exercise with many agents in the past in terms of how long it would take them in order to do their own marketing, their own postcards, their own design, twice a month, et cetera, et cetera. And the time spent doing this, you're paying yourself like $5 an hour, $10 an hour, when you should be, your time is worth $100 an hour, $200 an hour. So do not try and do it yourself. The automation is important. And the fact is automation means consistency, and you're never going to give up. right? I think we've all made this mistake. I know I did. When I first started in the business, first few years, I started doing flyers and I designed them myself. I had them printed at Staples. I even delivered them myself. And guess how long it lasted until I finally automated it. So do not make the mistake of trying to do it all the heavy lifting yourself when it comes to the postcards and the farming program. The just listed and just sold cards, again, it's with our Spotlight marketing program. We make it easy in automation for you because we know that that's the only thing that really works. So every time you do a listing with Spotlight, it gives you the option to send out just listed and just sold cards, and it takes you 2 minutes. You say, yes, I would like to send. That's it. They send it for you. They choose the postal walk. Now, just so you know, the system's set up to say, would you like just listen, just sold in the area you sold your home? And you're going to say, no, use L00706 or whatever it is through Canada Post. If they have your farming program on file, they'll have your Canada Post walk on file. They will just send it to that if you tell them to. So every time you do a just listed or a just sold, they will market it for you. And don't put too much thought into this, people. I know a lot of your attention to detail, but the reality is if you just listed the property and it's sold tomorrow, you still have the ability to send out a just listed and just sold. It's your marketing. And if it sells in 2 days, it sells in 2 days. These days, it's not selling in 2 days, so it's not as big a deal. But I saw a lot of people not send out just listed because they were selling so quickly. Again, this is your marketing. It's your marketing your farm area. You're letting people know you buy and sell real estate. That's the purpose of it. It's not necessarily just to, obviously sell this house, right? So just listed and just sold. That's it was part of my farming program. Every time something listed and sold, and sometimes you'll have 3 sales in 1 month. 6 flyers, 6 postcards will go out on top of your farming program. So you're going to get 8 flyers from you that month. Well, that's just the way it goes. When it's busy, and that's how it's okay, right? The more, the better anyway. So bench advertising is another form that you'll see a lot of. Bench advertising is extremely effective if you're farming. It's not as effective if that's all you're doing. Let's say you have a foundational program through repeat referral business and your friends and family. You put a bench up in town. Yeah, no, your friends and family, it supports, they see, oh, I saw your bench and all, that's great. They were going to use you anyway. The cost associated with this has less of a return, and you don't know where people are calling off of. When you're using it in conjunction with a farming program, they're going to see your name now 47 times a month. Every time they go to work and come home from work, they see your name, you see your name, you see your name. So what it does is it really kickstart and jumpstart a farming program, because those flyers you're sending twice a month, husband sees it this month, wife sees it the next month, kids pick it up the month after. They're going to see your name 1 or 2 times in the next few months. That's not enough. If you have a bench, they're seeing it 47 times on top of the just listed and just sold and everything else in your program. That's why you got to be in conjunction with. Okay. I put an example over to the right of the traffic patterns. Okay. And the reason why I wanted to do this is just as a reminder for me to talk to you about it, but really consider where people are coming in to and from in the area. So if you have main arteries, as you can see down here and up here, these are main arteries. Which way is work, right? Which way is Toronto, right? If Toronto's this way, then this is the most heavily trafficked street, and it's better to get a bench on this street opposed to maybe this street, which is just for shopping. Okay. If you get a bench on this street, it's right in the farm area, great. But if your farm area is over here and you take a bench here, guess what? Nobody in this farm area is seeing this bench unless they maybe go to the public school. But if the public school's there, it makes sense, right? So you have to put thought into your traffic patterns for the area and where you're choosing your bench. Okay. Just some little tips there. We're going to move on to your, fridge magnets, pop buys. I don't know how many times I used to list houses when I sold, and I'd see the competitor's fridge magnet up on the fridge. And of course I do. Yeah, your fridge needs to be depersonalized. Let's take all those magnets down. But I'd always see this person's fridge magnet, and I'm like, this works. I wouldn't put one on my fridge, but let's be honest, fridge magnets work. So it could be part of your program, right? So marketing that sticks, and sticky advertising is important. We talk about that when we're doing pop buys. If you pop by and give somebody, let's say, a bottle of wine, right? they're going to drink that and it's gone in, well, in some cases a few days, in some cases a few weeks. But it gets thrown out, right? An ice cream scoop is something that'll be in the fridge drawer sometimes for 20 years with a C21, your name on it. They're going to see your name 47 times every time they go to grab a knife, a fork, or an ice cream. You know, rather than a wine for $20, consider a wine opener for $8. A wine opener has your name on it. It stays in the drawer and it gets seen 47, hopefully not too often, but often enough. And that they'll be popping open you know, bottle of wine a couple times or whatever a month. So you're going to see that name all the time. So get creative, stuff that you can drop off. It gets you in front of them again. Don't just deliver them. Knock on the door, hand it over. Call me for the scoop in real estate. They'll think it's cute. They've met you. They saw you, you know, 4 times this year because you were giving them something of value. And it's the law of reciprocation. When you give something, they'll typically want to they'll return the favor by a referral, or they'll know somebody who's looking to buy and sell because they really like you. They think you do a great job marketing the area and they think you're the most popular person. It's like there is a program out there. It's called the Mayor Program, and it is for farming. And if you consider yourself somebody that understands politics, you'll understand the importance of being in front of somebody and the market share of somebody's. Everybody knows the mayor in town, right? Everybody should know the mayor in town. And when they run for mayor, what do? They send out flyers and note cards. They put their signs on the lawn, right? So you want to put signs on lawns. You want the for sale signs. I've seen so many different creative ways in order to get people's names, you know, out there. It may be expensive, but I still want somebody to do the recycling bin program. I want you to put your name on a recycling bin. Have a little cute little saying to give everyone a recycling bin in the area. Every week, you're going to have 500 recycling bins with your name on it as you drive down the street. What a great idea. It may have cost $4,000, but guess what? So does a bench, and a bench is only on one corner. This is on everybody's driveway. Like, get a recycling bin program. I think that would be amazing. Ice cream truck, right? This is an event, right? You're giving kids ice creams. You're going to do a farm flyer, or sorry, a flyer to your farm area 1 week prior to invite everyone out. Booked in the summer, that's your event, right? You're going to be handing out, shaking hands. People are going to thank you, and you put your banner on the ice cream truck. It'll cost you maybe $1,000 an ice cream, but everyone will love you and remember your name and see your flyers, remember who you are. Okay. Pay-per-click advertising as part of your marketing plan, right? So you see your name on the bench, they see your name with the flyers, and now they're on the computer, and all of a sudden your name pops up on Facebook, right? And or Google if they're looking for a real estate agent, you've got your name there. So you may decide to have a pay-per-click ad campaign, and it doesn't have to be a lot in terms of money. It could be $100 a month just on pay-per-click, just to make sure that people are also seeing you online. And I think by now you should have an idea of what I mean by total domination, right? You're everywhere. I see your name everywhere. You're their mind share, right? When they think of real estate, they think your name. That's what you're trying to buy. And of course, if you're putting yourself in front of them and you're meeting them and you're smiling and you're shaking their hand and you're talking about the area 4 times a year, right? You're going to door knock and dominate that area. You may make calls. Maybe you do 2 times door knock, 2 times telemarketing, just to, again, offer evaluations, maybe an event that's happening in the area. You know, if you are hosting an event, don't just host the event. Make sure you show up and talk to people. And don't forget to introduce yourself, right? Many people think that prospecting is going to say, are you looking to buy and sell? Take that mindset. I'm going to go back to the beginning of this seminar and remind you with mindset. When it comes to farming, you're not asking for business. Okay. I know it seems like you're asking, and you're going to do a lot of stuff, and you're asking for business, but you don't come across that way. So when you're in front of somebody, you're building a relationship. How are you? What are you doing this summer? Did you hear about the new restaurant that opened? You are building relationships. You are not asking for business. So when you knock on that front door, Don't say, hi, my name's Aaron Richardson. We're Century 21. Was hoping, to give you a home evaluation if you're looking to buy and sell, right? That could be a door knock in an area that you're prospecting, but that's not what you're going to do in your farm area. You're going to go and say, hi, my name's Aaron Richardson. I'm a Century 21. I just wanted to introduce myself. How's the summer going for you? Right. And then, oh, by the way, I have, a little pop by, I got here. It's an ice cream scoop. Open, helps you serve ice cream to your kids, whatever it is, right? Prospecting should be about building relationships as well, and keep it organized, right? We have a CRM system that's very effective in task management, sending out little, emails, whether it be news, special occasions. We have a home search app now. You can give them something of value that they can look for home sales in the area, because it does do the VOW home sales. I had a program called Nosy Neighbor. I put them into my CRM, and every time something was listed, they would send out a prospect search just to let them know what the area homes are selling for. There is a task manager, so you can book in tasks to say, I talked to this person last month, but I want to call them in 4 months. So you remind yourself within the CRM system. It really helps organize you. And of course, if you sell something, it does the after sale care as well. As you build your sphere of influence, the people that know you, you're going to put people in your farm area in there because they know you. You've built a relationship, right? They've invited you in. You're at the barbecue. Add them to your newsletter you send out once a month through your CRM. This is another example just of what the task manager looks like. It says I should call this person in the next few months. It also keeps notes in the system. So when I do talk to Finley on the phone, I can say, so how are the kids, right? We talked last November on the home evaluation you did. Guess what? It's gone up 12% since then, right? So you can have those discussions. Soon as you have your business plan done, actually, it just really should be part of your business plan, right? You should be saying, what am I going to do in year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? I'd love to see this if anybody would like to share their business plan with me, because we can start managing expectations. We can also start building out what should be a good indication of your success in farming. So, as you can see here, I put this together as what I would expect. Okay. And I want you to see what you would expect in your area. I'm going to choose an area of 750 homes. My expense is 6,000 in flyers, another, a couple thousand in just listed, just solds, maybe another couple thousand in pop buys, et cetera. I'm up to $9,300 as my expense in that farm area of 750 homes. So I don't want to go too crazy. I don't want to go under the expense, but I'm going to spend $9,300 next year. I made 200 last year from my sphere of influence. I'm taking 10,000, I'm setting it aside for my farming. I'm going to say I'm not closing a deal in the first year. Okay. Never have the expectation you're going to close a home in the first year, because you're going to let yourself down and you're going to stop farming. Okay. So you have 0 market share in the first year, but the second year said, no, I'm going to do 2 deals, because the first year generated a deal and the second year generated another one. So 2 deals in the first 2 years is more reasonable in terms of your expectation. Okay. You've spent, again, the same amount, 9,300. Now you've spent, almost 20,000, but you've doubled your money because you got 40,000 from 2 home sales, and you got an additional 20,000 because they also bought a home, right? So you got 2 home sales, one of them bought a home, and now you have 4% market share in that area. Year 3, you're going to stick to it. Maybe year 3, you decide, no, I had a great year. I'm going to jump to year 4. But year 3, let's say you stick to it and say, that's when I'm, on full bore. I'm going to do 3, 4 sales. I'm going to spend the same amount. My income's now at 60,000. I have additional 30,000 from an additional house they purchased. You're even going to do more than this, by the way, because they have friends and family. If you have the foundational program set up, you're going to get referrals. Okay. But let's say you do the 6% market share for your farm area. So you've made $90,000 with an expense of 9,300. There's your 10 times. Now you're at 10 times your investment. You're going into year 4, doubling it up. You're going to choose an area that's next to the area that you've already chosen. Guess what? You already have some market share and you don't even know it, because the area homes have seen some of your marketing. They've seen the online, they've maybe seen an event, or maybe they participated just, without the farming, without the postcards, because they're not part of that. So you still have that residual sort of, the bench in the area has also promoted that. So you can actually take your expense and not even have to double it, because you can use the same benches if you choose an area that's next to it. So just expand your area, but let's expand the expenses. Let's go to 20,000 and realize you're going to double your income. So now instead of 60, you're making 130 with an additional 65, and you have 6% market share. Same amount of market share, but it's just in a larger area. The year after that, you're going to double it again. You're at 3,000 homes. Your expenses are 40,000. Now your income's close to that 390,000. So it's 400,000 spent by 40,000, and your market share is still 6% because you've doubled your area. Okay, that's a good example of a business plan's numbers in terms of your expenses, your income, what to expect for market share. Obviously, these numbers I based on a turnover rate of 7%. So it wasn't even an 8% turnover rate, just took it at 7%. Average commission, 20,000, could be 15,000, could be 25,000. Okay, do your own numbers, but this gives you a good generic idea of what your business plan should look like, what your expectations you should be setting. Each home sold minimum should at least generate a minimum of an extra half a sale. And I know people are saying, no, it should be 1.5. Yeah, you're right. It should be 1.5. Okay. I said half a sale in the area for farming, but you're going to get 1.5 really if you're doing a great job foundationally, because you're going to get repeat referral business down the road. Everybody knows 2 people are buying and selling. If you do an amazing job, you're actually getting 1.5 additional sales for every sale that you do. So this is minimum standards, everyone. So your 10 times is completely doable when it comes to farming. That really is the ultimate guide to geographical farming. There are a ton of ideas that are out there, a ton of seminars you can attend. They give you additional ideas, but the key concepts are the same. If you dominate an area with your marketing, people want to use you, and that's it. But there's some cost to it, right? Farming is not for the faint of heart. It's not, something that you're gonna, well, that's expensive, $10,000. Well, yeah, but you're going to go with 10 times. You're going to make $100,000, 10,000 spent 10 times, right? But you have to scale up. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to be relentless. Okay. I hope everybody got something from that. I'm going to open up the floor now to everyone and to answer some of your questions. Go ahead. I've got 3 things in the chat. This is being recorded, just so everybody knows. One of the questions direct to me was, is this going to be recorded? We are posting this onto the YouTube training video on YouTube. We're also going to be implementing this in our new training platform that we're going to be launching in the next few months. So yes, this will be available. Yes, side note with Geo Warehouse, the reason why I picked Geo Warehouse is exactly what Farshi's saying, is that it now includes impact data. Okay, so the impact data in terms of what the taxes, that's how we usually use MPAC, is to find the taxes on a property, is now included in Geo Warehouse, which is a great feature. And the new realm system, if I can't, I guess, don't have a total opinion on it at this point in time. I haven't used it enough, but I can't say enough about the fact that they have done a good job of really putting an all-in-one system together with the statistical information. There's more statistics available in a prettier format than in the past. It just is going to take time for everyone to get to know and figure out how to use it. But I think it's going to be a really good idea. I mean, one of the things is schools in there. They have a catchment area for schools, and it'll tell you exactly the public school and the high school that the person needs to go or is going to be going to, that kid's going to be going to. So you can search by catchment areas, and again, it's something that's part of your farming program as well.